everybody, it's Romania Black, and we're starting a new series today. And I'm going to be picking up this mug of coffee here in a second because I'm a little bit nervous going into this series. I did a poll over on Patreon, as I always do, to see what show was going to come next on my channel, and it was really close. Honestly, it was really close between To Be Hero X and Takapi's Original Sin, which is what we're watching today. So only went out by 6 votes. I did not realize at the time of polling that this series was only 6 episodes long, which earlier this year I watched Gunbuster and it was only 6 episodes long, and it was a fantastic series and packed a lot in 6 episodes while still being well paced. And this opening episode is 37 minutes long, so it's longer than the other episodes in the series. So it's all gonna work out and be great, but I'm not gonna lie. I pulled this up on Crunchyroll to watch with you all, and for the very first time in 5 years that I've been recording and doing reactions to anime and manga on this channel, there was this big block of text, and I'm going to show you here in a second, that worried me just a little bit. Now, I know nothing about this series. As you know, I am an English teacher, a speech coach, and a absolute nerd. I love to watch anime and donghua and read manga, and I started this channel so that I could talk to you all about it with a little bit of an English teacher's educational flair, because I like analyzing and breaking down stories. So that's what we do on this channel, but I also go in completely blind. So I know nothing about this story, nor do I want to know. I want to find out through the show. So if you comment down below and you want to talk about spoilers, please spoiler tag. I will have a mod that checks comments. And if your comment is spoiler free, I'll answer you and talk to you. So there you go. Ta-da! Parasocial relationships. They exist. But you can see here, I'm going to pull us up here in 3, 2, 1. This text came up at the very beginning of the screen saying this program contains depictions of suicidal behavior that may be upsetting to some viewers. If you or someone you know needs help, visit crisishelpresources.com. I've never had a streaming service offer a help resource guide for a series, and I've watched some dark shit on this channel. So I'm like, I've watched shows where there has been suicide and suicide ideations and intentions and suicidal attempts, and the streaming services have never offered that. So that's what we're walking into. Okay. All right. Anyway, I know nothing about this series except that it came out this summer. It had huge rave reviews. It's possibly one of the highest rated series of the year, if not in anime recently, and it's only 6 episodes. I'm imagining if this is where we start, these 6 episodes are going to be quite a journey. So thank you for joining me on it. We'll definitely look forward to what we get. But if you are new to my channel, because of how the internet and YouTube works, there's going to be a link down below where you can watch the actual reaction, and then we're going to come up and we're going to talk about it later. So you'll see a page, it'll be a little blip, it'll say there's a link down below. Come back, we'll talk about it in the discussion. I have a feeling with 37 minutes and this opening, we're going to have a lot to talk about. So with that being said, thank you so much for watching with me. I'm going to get adjusted here and we're going to get started and see what the hell this is about. So we're going to start Takapi. We'll find out how it's pronounced. Original Sin. And we're going to do that here in 3, 2, 1. And let's go. Gee willikers, mister, this show seems like it's going to be a lot of fun. Gee willikers, mister, this show looks like it's going to destroy me. So we have things to talk about, but this show is incredibly raw. I thought March Comes In Like a Lion was raw. I thought that Land of the Lustrous was raw. I thought a lot of shows were raw, but this one is, woo! Oh! This one gets under my skin. Also, the title was To You in 2016. What is this, Attack on Titan? What is this? What is this title, To You in 2016? I guess we need to take mind of that this series is supposedly happening in 2016. So, To You in 2016. I guess we need to keep track of that. Maybe, possibly. Keep track of that. So, 2016 is supposedly when this is taking place. I don't know if that timestamp will have any relevance later. Also, that marker's not dark enough, but y'all get the point. So this series is called Takapis. Takapi is Japanese for octopus, which makes more sense now. Takapi's Original Sin, which is an interesting title because looking up what original sin is, because I'm a teacher, I do my homework, even if it's just for the wiki page for this discussion. But original sin is described in multiple religions, not just Christianity, but Christianity is often a focus of it. And there are different branches of Christianity. It could go in a lot of different directions. If you go look up original sin, there's a lot of interpretations that vary distinctly, but we're doing the overarching paraphrase, which is to say a sinfulness that all humans share. And it is tied to quote unquote hurtful desire, or a loss of free will except to sin, which we'll talk about. Hurt people is a big theme in this episode, which was nearly 39 minutes long. The rest of the episodes are not nearly, I don't think, as long as this one. I'm not going to look at titles or anything. I'm just going to glance at run times, 21, 26, 23, 24, and 22. Yeah, so just real quick, this is the longest episode, which needed to be longer because we had a lot to set up. But a concept that is thrown throughout the concept of original sin is, are children born innocent? And I personally maintain the belief that, yeah, they are born innocent. A lot of things as the episode went on, and I know I kept being like, why is Marina a bitch? Because she was acting the worst. But then you realize she is projecting what she is learning at home onto Shizuka. She is projecting what she's learning at home onto this girl, and there is a difference between the two girls and their home life, and a difference between why they act the way that they do, and it eats me up. It eats me up. It makes me want to cry. I brought a tissue to this discussion because I had a feeling I was going to need it, because I cried like 3 times in that episode, and I was like, oh my god. So yeah, the screen that went by really quickly at the beginning that you were like, wait, what did that say before we jumped into this like neon pink, like utopian, like everything's magical, said this work contains some sensitive depictions involving life and death. These scenes have been visually portrayed with respect for the original author's intent and are by no means intended to encourage or promote such actions. We hope you enjoy the bittersweet yet happy story of Takapi and the children as they face their extraordinary fate and accompany them throughout their journey. The Takapi's Original Sin Production Committee. Well, at first, I thought it said just the bittersweet story, and I was like, oh, thanks. But it said bittersweet yet happy, so maybe this will have a happy ending. I don't know. Takapi has a quest to keep Shizuka from committing suicide, and Godspeed. So, because this girl has it really, really rough. And so let's talk about these two girls, shall we? Let's talk about these two girls. We have Marina, who I feel, based on what we've seen so far in this episode, probably takes after the father, which does not make things easier for her. And then we have Shizuka, which is the other girl. And so these two girls who really, throughout most of the episode, I was like, why is it that this girl's getting so beat up? I'm like, she clearly is getting bullied for a reason. And she said at one point, she was like, oh, well, your parents don't pay taxes and stuff like this. And it's like, oh, okay. So her parents have told her in passing conversation about such and such and such and such. But what we come to find out is that Marina's dad has been seeing an escort, which just happens to be Shizuka's mom. And that's her job, because there is no dad in their household. And we're going to go back to see why exactly that was. Did he run off or did he die? We're going to see what that was. And so then the mom is angry and pushes that anger onto her daughter. And her daughter, who did not ask for this, did not have any reason to get hurt. It's not her fault that their dad left. She's a 4th grade kid, is now projecting that anger onto Shizuka, who in turn, because her mom works and never is home, has no support network. So it's kind of this weird situation where normally I'd be like, oh no support network. That really sucks. But in Shizuka's defense, she's not a bad kid. Her mom literally is gone. And Shizuka seems to understand the situation financially and economically that their family is in. And she's just like, and she's not someone that complains about it. She's like, I just want to go to school. I just have to do this, whatever. I'm more pissed off as a teacher. I gotta get myself together. I'm pissed off as a teacher that nobody was helping her. That's the part that probably hurts the most. Is that because they're kids, they're 4th graders. And so thus, man, it just eats at your heart. But like, they're 4th graders and they are projecting energy that they have learned from someone else. And that they don't exactly, as 4th graders, they don't know what to do with that energy. And so they're violent and they don't know any, and even if they do know any better, when you're a young kid, it's hard to rationalize emotion and contain it and control it. But the fact that, and I get when the teacher found Takapi, who was imitating her, and the teacher was like, well, why'd you come get me when you're supposedly getting beat up? I don't understand. But the thing that sucks is, like, this girl comes to school every day. Her backpack, her desk has all this stuff written all over it where it's so easy to see. And her backpack and everything is bad. And the teacher and the school system does nothing for her. And that's so heartbreaking, because there should be an adult figure in that room doing something for her. And I cannot imagine, because, you know, what happens with Shizuka is not uncommon. It happens to a lot of people. And it doesn't just happen in grade school, but in high school, but in college even. I mean, there's a lot of disparity. And I just, watching her go to school and come back every day and just being, especially the part where she got bullied to the point of physical violence, especially when she got to that point. Because I kept wanting to see, like, are her parents, like, involved in the school? And is that why, you know, are her parents involved with the school? But they don't seem to be. It's not like a nepotism thing where, oh, we don't want to get on to Marina because she's, like, the principal's daughter or something. From what we know, that's not the case. So it just, I cannot imagine as a teacher seeing a kid front and center with all that shit wrote on her desk, all that vulgarity, all of the abuse, the stuff written on her backpack, the way that she looks disheveled. I cannot imagine day to day looking at that and then not doing anything. And that's so sad. And I know from watching March Comes in Like a Lion that there is a cultural aspect to that, but I cannot imagine. I can't. Like, that broke my heart so much. That she just every day goes to school and nobody helps her, or she doesn't have a support in any way. Because then, you know, you watch a series like Bocchi the Rock, where it's not really an economic disparity, but in that series there is, like, the main character. I'm not going to spoil Bocchi the Rock. Go watch it. It's on my channel. There you go. But it's a much happier show.
than this. But in that, there is a character that has some like disparity, like in a neurological sense. And the teacher is like very helpful at the beginning, even if I gave that teacher a little bit of a hard time, but it was in a different context. But at least that teacher was recognizing and being present for that student. Here, nobody's present. And I'm like, how do you not notice? I'm like, it just, oh. I'm fortunate enough to say that I cannot imagine that happening here. Like, there are kids left behind by the system. There are. There are. But usually there's at least somebody in that school that will notice and try something. And for Azuma to be the only one that tries to reach out, that's the hard part. And you may think to yourself, why didn't Shizuka like want to be friends with him? I think there's a lot to it. One, she doesn't want to get him involved. She doesn't want to get him potentially hurt. And then if he was her only friend and then he gets hurt and then leaves her, that would feel even worse. Two, he's a boy, and that doesn't seem like it's a big deal, but knowing she's a girl and he's a guy and Marina is preying on any possible thing and she keeps calling Shizuka a slut, if Shizuka gets any help from Azuma, there is a very distinct chance that Marina will start trying to spread. And they're in fourth grade. They're in fourth grade, so you wouldn't think that. But knowing what this girl has said that her mother has regurgitated to her, there's a very good chance she might try to like slut shame this fourth grade girl Shizuka and say something really bad that's not true and make Azuma go away. And she's like, it's just not going to change anything, so it's not worth the time. Oh, that's the worst part. The worst part of it. So yeah, the fact that Shizuka hides amongst the culverts and she's like, is somebody here? And then this pink alien appears. This pink alien that is like Vash from Vash the Stampede. Baby Vash meets Jesus. Meets. Is Japan having a moment where we focus on monsters and aliens? I was thinking about that during the OP. Because wondering if there was like, this tie to aliens and, an outside presence, because what better third party observer to view what's going on than an alien? To be able to be an outsider, to look in and offer a fresh perspective against the backdrop of a world that has given up on trying to outdo the system. So, oh my God. But yeah, so we had my voice is shot from this freaking episode. So Takapi, and again you have poor Shizuka who looks all disheveled because they've been beaten up constantly. I thought Shizuka was a boy at first, to be honest, just because I thought they just had shaggy hair. So we have our opening where we have our opening featuring Takapi flying away from their happy planet, getting to Earth, and then immediately getting bombed down by the government. Of course. And Takapi's like, oh my God, why? As a UFO. And then ends up on the planet. I'm like, Takapi, are you afraid you're going to destroy the planet? And then, yeah, with using the photo to go back in time. I'm like, I wonder if Takapi, we call this Takapi's original sin because they are messing with something that they shouldn't mess with. They're trying to redo time to save this girl's life, messing with forces beyond their means. If anything happens to that damn dog Chappie, we're going to go back through this, but Chappie is like the one source of happiness for this girl. And I was like, if they kill that damn dog, and they did it off screen, okay, so we do see the mom in the opening, and she does leave. And oddly enough, the mom looks kind of similar to Marina's mom, so that's scary. Okay. Interesting. Except the dad's food is plastic wrapped because he's at work. Okay. And then we see the dad. Oh, the dad doesn't really look like her at all. Genetics. Weird, y'all. He looks like a peach. And then we see, I'm assuming that's Ozma's mom. Is she a doctor? And then Ozma gets home. Looks like he has a brother. Okay. And then there's clocks and time and all of this. But yeah, Marina is this force. And then we see her and Shizuka, and then Takapi's like, I'm going to use this magical rope to thread together and make you guys friends again.
Oh. As long as this girl does not end up committing suicide, we will be fine. But I don't know how this is going to go. I don't know how this is going to go. So we have looks like the brother, maybe it's the dad, I don't know. The dog that it shows Chappie and then it shows these little Takapis with this like angel looking dog. I don't understand what's happening. So we're going to see on that. But yeah, it shows the brothers and then that. I don't know. I get worried. So yeah, To You in 2016 is what this episode is called, episode 1. I'm a happy-in on a quest to spread happiness throughout the universe, P. So it has this way of ending its sentences with a little P phrase. It's insanely adorable. It's too cute. The moment I saw this little pink thing, I was like, oh no. Uh-oh. That means the story is going to be incredibly sad. You know why? Because you can't start an episode out with warnings of suicide, and then you feature this cute, happy little alien. You're like, oh no, to balance how adorable this alien is, we're going to make this alien suffer by seeing how messed up humanity is and how like horrible we are to each other and preventing ourselves from having basic happiness, which is a concept that Takapi's like, I don't get it. Why can't you just be happy? And I'm like, that's the question we're all asking ourselves, right? So as soon as I saw this little alien, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm supposed to spread happiness throughout the universe. Yeah, bidding farewell to my home planet, Planet Happy. I landed on this green-blue planet today after being shot down by your government. Yeah, I was close to being captured and nothing to eat. It was rough. And that's when they run into Shizuka. I do love that they help out each other in this episode. Shizuka helps get Takapi the bread, and Takapi is like, I'm gonna keep you alive. So that's where we're headed here. But oh man, this episode, there's a part of me that like wants Takapi to maintain that innocence that they have, that happy, because that innocence and pure joy that they have in their soul is what's helped Shizuka the most, and I don't want them to lose that, but I feel like this entire series is going to make them question on if they're going to be able to come out of this. They're already scathed by what's happened, and it's like... So, I want to break down exactly like what had happened in the original timeline after. Also, lots of time travel on this channel. But also what had happened after the first day with Takapi. So you get the name is like Nunukif. They're like, you don't understand it. And so Shizuka's like, I don't know what that means. So they have a book. It says The Fun Friends of the Sea, the giant Pacific octopus. And that's what they named Takapi Av, the Friends of the Sea. I love that she's like, Shizuka is a kind of human in the 4th grade category. She knows a lot about living creatures and is very nice. Looking at her makes me feel... And then there's all the sparkles. So cute. Takapi is adorable. So Takapi has this thing that allows them to fly through the sky. And they're like, I bet you humans fly all the time. No, which I feel like the notion of the flying thing, I mean, obviously Shizuka does not want it because Shizuka's like, if anybody sees me flying through the air, I'm going to get in trouble. Don't want to risk that. But also there is a metaphor there of how Shizuka's like, no, nothing's going to change. Shizuka very much feels trapped in this loop of, I'm stuck in the system. I'm not going to get out. And it's easy to see why Shizuka would think that, because at school, she's not given any opportunity of growth or acceptance or belonging. So she doesn't think, in her mind, she's probably like, well, I'm either probably going to become like my mom or just be poor and alone the rest of my life. And that sucks. But why would Shizuka think any differently when no one is presenting her with an opportunity otherwise? Which sucks a lot. So the flying in itself is basically a symbol of free will and freedom that Shizuka does not believe she has nor will be able to achieve. So she says she has to go buy a writing board to put on her papers because hers has been broken by Marina. She's like, even if I could fly, nothing would change. And Takapi has that same little like
like little like 3 facial expression of like, I don't understand what you mean nothing will change. Everything would change if you could fly. Like, you know, that just naive innocence that Shizuka has none left in her. And she's in 4th grade, y'all. She is 9 years old. Like, I was 8 in 3rd grade, so she's like 9 years old and has no sense of freedom or hope in this girl's life. And it sucks so much. This planet has a lot of creatures that fly. Maybe humans go out every night to practice their flying skills. She's like, keep it down. If they see you, it's the animal shelter. So then we see Marina. She's like, I broke her riding board so she can't use it anymore. She'll have to buy a new one again. And you're like, these girls are so mean, but it's easier to be mean than it is to be kind. And it's one of those things where loud and toxic voices are infectious, and it's easier to go with the crowd than to speak up and be different and be ridiculed for it. And I did a whole discussion about this back with March Comes In Like a Lion at some point, but it's so sad because I don't think these girls the girls obviously have no idea what Marina is going through because they don't know because Marina's not going to tell them that her mom and dad are like on the outs because of Shizuka's mom. I don't think she'd tell them that, but you know, it's easier just to bully this girl so that you don't get beat herself. And she uses the excuse of saying she can buy it with her welfare money. Like, that discrimination of people with welfare, oh, it makes me livid. I cannot stand it. I was fortunate enough, my family was like middle class. Like, we had enough. We were not extravagant. We didn't have luxuries, but we had enough. We had enough. And if I had clothes, I had food, I had shelter. And that was enough. My family was not impoverished, but I knew people that were, and I know people as a teacher now that are. If you're on welfare, you're not getting lots of privileges. That's the point. And oftentimes, I don't know how Japan is, but in America, welfare becomes a cycle because you get enough to live, you get some extras to get some luxury things to make you seem like you're doing good, like a phone or something like that, but you don't ever have enough to get out of the cycle unless you really, really work hard to break free from it. But a lot of times what happens is people get stuck in the cycle because you have just enough to get by. And if you try to leave the cycle, you don't get that anymore, and it can be really, really hard. Now, once you break free from it and you get out of it, and if you do make it through, then you're fine. Then it's going to work out. It'll be good. But a lot of them don't see that as an option or possibility, and there's such a stigma against people who do get welfare and get that a lot of people just feel like it's hopeless. And it's like, well, then fine. If you're going to make me out to be a monster I'll be. And that's just what they stick with. And Marina uses that welfare line that she learned from her mom. That's clearly something her mom said. And then they all kind of go along with it, and she uses it as an excuse. And Shizuka is so brave because she's dressed like Chihiro from Spirited Away, you know, but Shizuka never complains about like the home she has. She loves Chappie, and she loves like having a home, and she never complains about it. I'm sure she doesn't like it. I'm sure she doesn't like how it's dirty or has nothing in it, but she never complains about it, right? She's not a woe is me person in that regard. And they're like, I bet it looks like they're doing something fun together. And she says they sure are. Because Takapi doesn't realize that the fun they're having is at her expense. And she's like, oh, that's right. Today's happy gadget is the happy camera. Which has the clock on it. I should have realized from the clock that it turned back time, but I thought that it was maybe just like there were clocks in the OP, and I was like, maybe it's just like a time thing. I don't know. But the fact that it's a Polaroid, you could feed the Polaroid back through and keep going back in time and repeating the same timeline over and over again is fun. Is good. It looks like an ordinary camera, but you take a picture with it. Yep. And then you have it. And they're like, well, why not just use a smartphone? They're like, well, it has this special function. And she's like, oh, well, I've got to go get my writing board. And you see, like, inside of her bag, they wrote, like, die, idiot, shit, filth. And she has, like, her notebooks in there. I feel so bad for this kid. I feel so bad for her. She's like, mine's gone missing again. That's the thing. She never, at any point in this story, blames Marina or says Marina destroyed it or those kids bullied me. Like, she never says any of that because she doesn't see the point in it. She doesn't think it's going to make a difference. Her speaking up, which is a huge thing because, like, Ozma, you know, is the one that saves her from getting bullied. And this breaks my heart into 1,000 pieces. Shizuka is very busy, but I'll make her happy tomorrow for sure. So the next day passes, and she's like, oh, this is the gadget you use when you're throwing a surprise party. So she explained the flower, but Shizuka just left her the sandwich and walked on by. Okay. And she's like, I gotta go. And so day 4, okay, today was sweetbread. So on day 4, she ate the sweetbread, and Takapi was like having the best time. And then she's like, this is Fact Coon, a gadget that will always give you wonderful advice and be your best friend. I'm excited to see how we use Fact Coon again. That's interesting. And so then, day 6, today's gadget is amazing. It's a ballpoint pen that sounds like a rabbit from Saturn. And she's like, I've got to go home early today. See you tomorrow. And she's like, oh, what's the matter? She's like, I have to feed Chappie. She's like, Chappie? I want to know what rabbits from Saturn sound like. So then she asks Takapi if she can come with her. And so they go home. And there's the house. And then, God, this dog is amazing. Yep, so this is Chappie. It's huge. Okay. I love this dog. This dog is amazing. So this is day 6, right? And Shizuka's smiling with him. I love that when the dog just slings Takapi around. Shizuka's like, oh, don't eat it. So she said, you can come inside. Mom's left for work already. And there's like the chair tipped over there. Oh my God. And there's like the chair tipped over. She's escorting. There's all these bottles of perfume and things. And he's like, she accompanies her customers to different places. Takapi thinks that's a produce stand. And I'm like, well, there may be eggplants, but it's not what you're thinking. No. She sounds like she's a busy person. And where's your father? And Shizuka says, I don't have a dad. And then Takapi, of course, infers that to mean, oh, you mean they don't need men to procreate on this planet? Which is not what she meant at all. I like so humans only need mothers to create children. That's amazing. So Shizuka says, Chappie and I have been together since he was a puppy. Okay, so he's probably 9. Dad left him for me. I love him so much. I'm fine as long as I have Chappie with me. He's all I need. Oh, I'm fine no matter what happens. Oh, that hurts my heart so much. Because that dog, oh my gosh, this show wants to make me cry. That is bound and determined. But that dog loves Shizuka no matter what, like unconditionally, because that's how dogs are. Oh. If that girl hurts that dog, if Marina hurts that dog, nope, I can't have it. Nope, we can't do that. We cannot do that. Nope. No matter how painful or terrible things get. And that's the first time Takapi really has some anxiety because they're like, oh, terrible, sad, I've never felt this way before. What's going on? So yeah, you can't see it from here. It's very far away. So clearly, I mean, Shizuka takes Chappie out for walks, which someone would probably see her. So we know that the dad left Chappie possibly 9 to 10 years ago. So Chappie's not a crazy old dog, but 9 to 10 for a bigger dog is not, nothing to snuff at. But still, I mean, we had like a lab that lived to be like 15 or 16. So, Chappie still got some years ahead of him. Maybe long enough for Shizuka to get older. But I dread that because, Chappie eventually will die. And then what will Shizuka do? That's the problem. If Shizuka doesn't have any friends or any means to find happiness, I mean, right now it's Takapi. So then what do we do?
And Takapi's like, oh, Planet Happy has lots of happy fruits and all of this. You should come visit. And Shizuka's like, I can't. I don't believe in magic. I can't go anywhere. Not to Planet Happy or to where my dad is. I don't know what that means. I don't know if Shizuka is saying her dad has died and that's the case, or if the dad left. I don't know. I get more the vibe that the dad died, because if he left, why would he just leave a dog there with her? But if he was dying and left the dog, but it could be either way. It could be either way. We just don't know, right? But Shizuka just feels hopeless. And every time it cuts to Shizuka's face looking absolutely devastated, hopeless, like there's nothing they can do, it cuts back to Takapi looking absolutely adorable. And the contrast is very disturbing. So Takapi's mother, my sweet child, looks like this giant white tentacle, says spread happiness throughout the universe with these happy gadgets. And I like the tentacle just has a bow. That's the only way you can tell. So the happy gadgets that we have, that we might as well put up here, are the camera that can take you back in time. There is the compact, okay? The compact, which can change your appearance. Fact Coon, which tells advice. The ring that can fly. The flower that can hide you. And the ribbon, which I'm guessing is from the mom. The reconciliation ribbon, which will make people be friends again. I'm like, I do wonder if what happens in the OP is going to happen in this series, or if it's all metaphorical. But it's like, you must never violate the rules. The rules are that aliens can't just have the objects, which, God, could you imagine? Could you imagine a human with the camera that can go back in time through the pictures? Link click be damned. But especially the ribbon, yeah. I'm not, and then Takapi's like, I'm not violating anything yet. She hasn't even used any of the gadgets yet. But Takapi wants to see Shizuka smile. I'll bring the happiest smile you've ever had. But I can't take you there right now because something happened and I can't go back to Planet Happy for now. And then in that moment, but one day I will, and Shizuka smiles and gives this adorable kiss to Takapi. And it's the cutest thing in the world. Ridiculous. You don't smell of anything. He's like, I gotta go home. And then Shizuka says, I'll see you tomorrow. And that's when we get Shizuka was beat up. Oh my God. So that was on day 7? Day 7 of them being there? Okay, so day 7. So on the 7th day, which feels very biblical in itself, right? If we're talking about original sin, on the 7th day, they got beat up horribly. So they got beat up. There's no backpack. And just the collar from the dog. So my big thing is, did this happen on the weekend? Like, did someone come to Shizuka's house and this happened on the weekend and then the dog got involved and something happened because the backpack's not there? Or was the backpack not there from... Now I want to go back. Was the backpack previously there in other days? It was on day 4. Was on day 5. Okay. Or day 6 it was too. Like, oh, you're already here. I've been waiting for you. And it's like, I'm going to show you a special gadget today. And yeah, so they're like, their face is all bruised up, all bloodied. There's been hair ripped out. Chappie's collar's in their hands. Something bad happened to Chappie. I just hope that doesn't happen. Like before, I had a fight with my friend. My other thing is it possible that Shizuka let Chappie go because Shizuka knew that they were going to kill themselves? Is that maybe what happened too? Is that Shizuka didn't want Chappie around
when they died. So Shizuka let her dog go and then was just seeing Takapi one last time before she did it. And then the ribbon just happened to be given to her and she was going to do it anyway. The ribbon was just even more convenient. Yeah, all these gadgets look like something out of a Sailor Moon episode, which is why I kind of love the gadgets. And then it says it's strong and can be stretched to infinity. You can use it with a friend who's really far away. Oh my God. So sad. And they're like, that's amazing. The way that their eyes slit to where you just see the ribbons is just crazy. And so they ask for it. And the rules of a happy gadget is that you have to be with them to use it. But they give it to Shizuka anyway. And then you see on the back where somebody's pressed their boot or their foot into their back and their shoulder. I hope you make up with your friend. And so then they turn around. They like leave to walk away and just say bye-bye. So the scene at the house is absolutely terrifying, absolutely heartbreaking. It's awful. It's really bad. I did wonder though, they made all of like, God, the mom would have came home and found her. The mom would have came home and found her. That's insane. I wondered because there's another series that I've watched that if you know my channel and you've been on my channel, you know what series I'm talking about that involves someone committing suicide in this manner. And there was not a warning given to that series at all. And so I think the main reason is because this is a child and they're in 4th grade and 9, and this person in this other series was in high school. So still really young, should be a warning there, but I get why we put it here because, and I honestly am glad they did not censor this because as horrible as it is and how that crisis line at the beginning is very important if you or someone you know is thinking about that or having those ideations, don't do that. You are loved. You are wonderful. Don't do that. But I'm really glad they didn't censor it because it needed to be graphic like that to get the point across about how hopeless Shizuka believe themselves to be. And the worst part is that Takapi, for all the good they tried to do at the beginning, they didn't, because it's one of those things where what they were doing at the beginning was not really inserting themselves into Shizuka's life in a sense of where they could help. Like at the beginning, at the very first part of this episode, Shizuka was giving Takapi bread and Shizuka was meeting up with them. And so Takapi was like taking the bread and showing off the gadgets and stuff, but Takapi was not taking the moment to really get to understand Shizuka's life and how hard it is and to put themselves in Shizuka's shoes at her school to realize why this is all happening. And it was only after that Takapi really got to know. And honestly, you really, a lot of times you don't, when people are thinking about those things, it's because like you don't realize how hard they're going through it. And that's really scary, is that those kids at school, they don't realize like to take your life is like you're at the bottom of the barrel. And for like for a 9-year-old to contemplate that is insane to me. And sadly not insanely uncommon. And that's horrible. But that's what kills me. Not literally, but that's what gets me is that this kid's 9 years old and they thought there was no hope because no one showed that they wanted to give hope to them or that they were trying. I think Takapi from the issue was this happy-go-lucky person, but Shizuka just did not think that did not realize that they were trying to help because they were so hopeless. And by the end of the episode, That's when they realize, oh, you were trying to help me. You've been trying to help me. And I'm glad that you're here. Things aren't so bad as long as someone's here talking to me, trying to help me. And that makes the, like Takapi's not doing anything insane. But that's such a big difference. And oh my gosh, just gives the biggest lump in my throat. And for Takapi not to realize that she was dead and then to like get her down and then realize that she died. Just like, why is she dead? The ribbon's wrapped around her neck. My ribbon, it was supposed to help be used to reconcile with her friend. So I'm hoping that it is used to help reconcile between Shizuka and Marina, but I don't know how that's all going down. Marina looks like a character that would be in Puella Magi Monica Magica, and I wanted to say that in the reaction, but I was like, this is not appropriate right now. But she really does. She looks like she'd be the first one out of that series. But Takapi is just heartbroken and horrified. And I love that Takapi's little tentacle wraps around Shizuka's pinky like the ribbon, like they want to reconcile her death. And she's like, I'm so sorry. Throughout the vast and endless universe, death is an equal decree for all. Not even the greatest gadget can revive the dead. But when you take a picture with the camera, it prints on the happy paper. Shizuka, the camera has a special function to it. You can only save one photo at a time. So this is the only photo that can be saved. So we can't go back and do another one. It's just one photo. If we try to take another photo, then that photo will be destroyed. So that's good to know. If something happens and the photo is taken, then we can't go back in time. You can go back in time to when the photo was taken. So day 7 after landing from Planet Happy, Sol, Planet 3, Earth. Intelligent being a human. In your language, the act of taking one's own life is called suicide. And then the question of why does such a behavior exist? And why did you decide to do it? I do not understand. But I want to ask you because I don't understand. And I want to have lots of conversations with you to get to know you better. So we can find a way for you to have a future where you don't have to die. And the smile and everything, it kills me. So my thing is, I don't know, will time eventually rewrite from, I mean, I guess it already is rewriting, but will it eventually rewrite to where Shizuka won't die? And won't die in this moment, maybe? Or is the death inescapable and she's going to die regardless? We're going to find out. We're going to find out in this series what's going to happen. But we go back several times. So the first time we go back, Takapi's like, okay, and Takapi with the little tear on the eye because instantly Takapi's like, oh my God, you're alive in this scenario. So we went back one time and went to the school. Take me to school with you. And then we figured out in this classroom, yeah, the desk says die all over it and there's poop all over it drawn and everything. And clearly it wasn't drawn by Shizuka. It was drawn by someone else. And Marina is just, I feel like Marina believes that if she can make Shizuka miserable, then it's going to solve all of her problems. And she's like, well, at least I'm not the only one miserable. You're miserable with me. The sad thing is both of them should be reconciling together and being like, yeah, our parents are doing some messed up stuff. Isn't that terrible? And both commiserating rather than taking it out on one another. And the sad part is Shizuka's not even taking it out on her. She's just like, I gotta eat. My mom's gotta eat. I can't help it that your dad's not being, I can't help your dad's infidelity. I don't know what to tell you, you know. And I think there is something to that too. You know, I am not against if people are going to be sex workers, you know, in the words of Missy Elliott, ain't no shame, lady, do your thing. Just make sure you're ahead of the game, you know. I don't think it's the mom's fault that this is happening. I mean, the mom is an escort. She is just paid to go into places with people. And she's like, it's my job. It's like Rent a Girlfriend. Did a video on that. It's like Rent a Girlfriend where she's like, this is my job. I can't help it that these men are terrible. They're giving me money. What do you want me to do? And so, and I mean, the idea of escorts have been around for centuries historically. The dad is the one at fault because he's married and he shouldn't be giving her money to go out with her. He should be with his wife and his kid. So he's the asshole in this whole thing for what we know of him so far. And the mom, Marina's mother, is also a jerk for taking it out on her kid rather than taking it out on the dad or whatever. And the dad seemed to have yelled at her and everything. So it's a messed up scenario. She's like, I'll be able to learn more about Shizuka here. But yeah, I do like the animation style. It's beautiful and gripping. And she's like, everyone will see me as a happy flower and wear this in your hair. So then I like this little terrarium that have morning glories set up, which morning glories have some symbolism to them that are set up there. And so Takapi sits in there and this teacher comes in. This teacher pisses me off because she doesn't do anything. And that makes me mad. Like she's a math teacher but she's not doing anything about the situation that she clearly should know is going on. So in this scenario, she's like, oh, I forgot my homework. But the real thing is that her notebook was taken away from Marina and Azuma, who is in front of her. Now, Azuma looks back at her. So I think Azuma likes Shizuka. But again, Shizuka doesn't want to get Azuma involved because then Marina is just going to take it out on him too. And it's not going to be fair. So, but in any case, we have the next timeline where we go way back to number 2. And in that timeline, the answers are found and things seem like they're going to work. The answers are found, and then there's the situation of lunch. Like, just leave Shizuka alone and let them finish lunch. Which, of course, they're like, well, don't you feel bad about not finishing your food? Which, to be fair, the food from the cafeteria, whether it was a free lunch or not, I remember the lunch from the cafeteria, and it's not always great. Again, I don't know how rural this school is. It feels kind of rural because of where they're located at. But I'm from a rural school, and, you know, a lot of it, you're like, oh, well, schools get money for lunches. Yeah, but a lot of small schools have to subsidize with less than, like, they have to get cheap food in bulk because that's what they have to do because they have to feed a lot of people. My dad worked as a custodian, and then in high school, he transitioned to be a cook at the high school that I was at. And he would talk about how, no, we have to order from this company and get the food because that's what we can afford as a school district in order to make the lunches to feed the kids. And no, it's not always great, but that's what we can afford. Healthy lunches are expensive, and a lot of small schools cannot afford it. And if you don't get government help to pay for those lunches, you're kind of dependent on your tax system in your county or your school district, at least where we're at, where I live. And the places that are poor, yeah, you're going to get corn and pasta and bread and some cheap veggies. And that's what you're going to get. And milk. And you just have to deal with it. But a lot of those kids, you know, I hate when people, I will always extremely loathe people who make fun of people who take free food. Because I'm like, if you've never been in a place where free food has been enticing to you, you are from a place of privilege. And there's so much stigma against free food. I tell my students, I'm like, the millennial in me from the early 2000s is like, you give me free food and I'm up for it. It doesn't matter. I have no shame with that, right? And I feel just, this sense of, there's so much entitlement and stigma against food insecurity, and it drives me crazy. I'm like, if you need to eat, eat. I don't care how you get it. Just eat. Like, that's a basic human right. And it just, it pisses me off. And they're like, Shizuka-chan, did she die because she feels bad not being able to finish her lunch? So Takapi tries to help with that. And then the food is finished, which we don't know if those kids spit on it or what did they do, you know? So then the notebook gets thrown away and Takapi gets the notebook back. And they do that. And then the backpack gets thrown out and Takapi finds the backpack, which the cubby that it's from, they just wrote all this horrible stuff in it. It's so sad. And then, could it be possible? When Happians fight, we hide each other's happy paper. And it's a way to draw their attention so that we can make up. So basically it's like in luring them in so that you can talk about it. The reason she was staring at Shizuka is maybe because she wants to talk. And through Takapi's happy eye, you see Marina, and she's just asking for, for them to have an apology. And Shizuka's like, yeah, I don't think we're really fighting. And then Marina wants to talk to you outside. The thing about it is that this beating up, we don't know exactly what happened leading up to it, but Takapi says that it's their fault that Shizuka got beaten up because of their involvement. But the reality is, from the first timeline, is that Shizuka was going to get beat up anyway. It didn't matter if it built up through Takapi helping Shizuka or not. It was going to happen anyway. It was going to escalate anyway, regardless. Here, Takapi just gets involved and gets to see things through Shizuka's perspective and gets to help. So, in the long run, it's like, is it better to, when Takapi's like, me getting involved has been harmful for you? No, you getting involved has made Shizuka at least feel like there's someone supporting and on their side and loving them. At least there's that. So it does present this great lesson of, no, get involved. Get involved. It's better to be involved in their life than to leave them and leave them with nothing. Because in this case, she was going to get beaten up anyway. It seems like this has happened before, right? Because of how she's looking, how she's like not anticipating it or has so much dread towards it. This has happened before. And of course, Takapi's like, the secret to making up is talking things through, which is easier said than done when you're only talking to one side about that. Marina has no clue about this at all. Happiness is born through talking things out, but that's not easy. And it's not always possible if both sides don't get it. So then we do the little compact where you can put your DNA in it. Basically, it's like Sailor Moon, kind of. And Shizuka's like, oh, you're going to go get beat up for me. Okay. And this girl is just violent. My thing is, I cannot stand how violent she is with no remorse. With no remorse at all. And just she's clearly regurgitating things that her mother has told her, but also the violent acts that she's doing are probably things that have been done to her, just maybe to a lesser extent. So she the please try to be a better listener is something that a parent would say to a kid. Like everything that Marina does to Shizuka is something that has probably happened to her from her mom. And that's just awful. And now Takapi knows like how Shizuka feels. Shizuka's like, it hurts. I'm scared. I can't make a sound. I just want to disappear and I want to cry and run away. This is so cruel. Like that's how Shizuka feels every day. And eventually it wears on you to where you just feel hopeless and that there's no other way. And that some people, they do that because they feel there's no way out. Which is sad because there is always a way out. It just, you don't realize it. Like, again, Azuma is there and seems like a potential ally for Shizuka, but Shizuka clearly doesn't want to involve him for very obvious reasons. But, there is somebody there. It's just, of course, it's not going to be easy. She's like, you're the last, you piece of trash. You're the last person that I want to hear this from. The daughter of a parasite who leeches off of men. But, like, kids are not the same as their parents, or they shouldn't be. So then we start again. Then we start again after they're like, stabbed. Then we start again with version 3. Like, take 3. That's what we're on now, is take 3. And then we go through the same motions. We get back. And Takapi's like, is it my fault? Shizuka's being treated harshly because of me, but it's like, maybe I can fix things this time. And they're like, I'm too scared to take another step. And that feeling is so real that when you're faced with something that feels hopeless, you feel too scared to move or too scared to run away, right? Which is why a lot of times Shizuka's like, I can't leave. I'm stuck here, because you feel trapped, right? You feel trapped and that there's no way out. And so that's when Takapi's like, but I want to save Shizuka, so still, I'm going to try. And said, Sensei, somebody help. So luckily she only got punched. It didn't go any further than that. And Azuma is like, oh, hey. Azuma's like, he shows up and says, if there's anything I can do, don't be shy asking. Which is easier said than done. And he's like, okay. And Azuma's like, should I bring it up at the next student council meeting? It's next Wednesday, but, Shizuka's like, no, because they're not going to go along with it or do anything. And Azuma even says, what if we told a different teacher? There's the PE teacher, Hodoya. I see him a lot at student council meetings. So, he's a little scary. And then Shizuka says it won't change anything. And that lingering moment of Azuma just being like that lingering moment where that hopelessness, like it just felt like daggers in him. I hope Azuma helps out, but I don't know if he knows what to do even. And it seems like from the OP, he might have some stuff going on at home too. And like, why all these kids got messed up families? Why all this happening? Why? So Shizuka and Takapi's like, okay. And Shizuka's like, have you been trying to help me? And poor Takapi doesn't want Shizuka to kill herself. So they start to cry and they say they're sorry. And they're like, you're the one who saved me, weren't you? The teacher was all confused, saying you came to get me, so how are you the one getting beat up? Thanks to you, only my face got bruised. And Takapi's like, well, but you're doing a lot of things for me behind my back, aren't you? And that's when, Takapi's like, well, yes, you got it wrong. You got hurt today because of all the things I did. School's been like for me ever since Marina's dad and my mom became close. Nothing's fun anymore. And I had to face Marina, so I hated my life. But it's not so bad these days. And just her crying, saying it's not so bad because Takapi's in their life. Oh my gosh. That just freaking gets to me so hard. And Takapi's like, oh, thank you. I'm sorry, Shizuka-chan. And then it says, I'm a failure, but I promise to keep helping you. And maybe that's why Takapi believes they're sinful, because they've messed up. And they're like, I'm going to keep trying to help you and make sure you don't die. So the idea of Takapi saying that they're a failure, but they're going to keep helping. Oh my gosh. I don't know. I don't know how you solve this situation because they are just kids. They are just 9-year-old children. There is only so much they can do aside from talking to each other, but there's going to have to be a lot more happen between the adults in the room, which none of that seems to be happening in ways that are helpful. Like, get it together, adults. And then that dog, so that you don't have to die anymore. Oh, yeah, that little beautiful, like, picturesque family portrait of Chappie and Shizuka and that. Oh! Meanwhile, Marina has seen Takapi with Shizuka. But Marina doesn't seem to understand what's going on. How have I failed at my after-school bullying 10 days in a row? And like her house is decent. Like she don't have a shack. Her house is decent, right? What's with her this week? And then her getting full of herself, saying that as the mom is there in the kitchen. So clearly there's been food thrown at the wall. There's the picture of the three of them. The mom has had a meltdown and has not cleaned any of it up. Instead, she's going to take out her anger and aggression on her daughter. He's eating dinner with that woman. Why can't you come home a little bit earlier, Mari-chan? She's still wearing the wedding ring too, which means that she wants to be with the husband, but he yelled at me again. And she's like, she's contemplating taking it off. And she's asking Mari if she's on her side. But damn, to put a kid in this position and to make your kid listen to you going through all this, like, are there no therapists in Japan? Do they exist? I know there's probably a cultural stigma against it, but can y'all fix that? Can y'all fix that? I mean, writers of this anime, can you petition that? Oh my God. The part where she like stretches her hand down her face to show the force as she pushes that eyelid down is terrifying. That's awful. Nope. Meanwhile, Shizuka's just trying to sleep with their dog. And Takapi brings over this shirt to sleep on as a pillow. And has the flower on. So did they have the flower on when they were speaking with her earlier? I think, did she have the flower? Did Takapi have the flower on during that part? I don't think they did. No, they didn't. But maybe Marina just couldn't see who Shizuka was talking to because of the angle. Maybe that was it. Maybe she just thought that she was sitting there. I feel for Marina. Don't get me wrong, because I feel for Marina because what's happening to her is she's 9, so clearly the mom is projecting all this anger and frustration onto her daughter, who is in turn projecting it onto Shizuka, who Shizuka is so kind. She has nothing to project it upon except Chappie, and she ain't doing that because Chappie's like her only salvation. So I feel for her, but then being hurt is not an excuse to hurt others. It never is. That whole thing, hurt people. I'm like, no, hurt people are hurt people. Point blank. But that is not an excuse to hurt others. You're just furthering the cycle. No. But she's 9, and we have to take that into account. And the mom and the dad, I just want to shake violently. This series, they're like a bittersweet but happy. I'm like, okay, sure, Jan. Okay, sure, I'll believe it when I see it. Takapi's Original Sin. But to you in 2016... we're going to see where this goes. And I'm very, very nervous for what's going to happen next. So, anyway, I hope you all have a wonderful week. Please stay safe. Take care. Know you are loved. You are loved and wonderful. And please find someone in your life to talk to that is not getting all this toxicity in there. So, oh my gosh. Anyway, I'll be back next week after I dry my eyes and soothe my voice with more of Takapi's Original Sin. I'll see you then.